Have you ever wondered what the most justified execution of Nazi guards was? When the Dachau concentration camp was liberated by the 45th Infantry Division on April 29, 1945, they found piles of emaciated corpses, thousands of dead bodies in railway cars, and 30,000 survivors, most of whom were severely malnourished and appeared to be walking skeletons. The surviving prisoners, who had suffered years of humiliation and abuse by their Nazi captors, were filled with shock and anger and wanted revenge. But what happened next? How were these Nazi guards punished for their heinous crimes? Join us as we delve deeper into this dark chapter of history and find out how justice was served. Adolf Hitler's appointment as Chancellor of Germany on January 30th, 1933 marked the beginning of the National Socialist use of terror measures to establish a dictatorship in the German Reich. In March of the same year, the first regular concentration camp, Dachau, was built near Munich. Initially, Dachau was used to imprison and intimidate leaders of political, social, and cultural movements that the Nazis perceived to be a threat to their regime. The primary objective of the earliest concentration camps was to incarcerate and intimidate the leaders of groups that the Nazi Party saw as a danger to their survival. The camp also became a center for training SS guards, who were later deployed throughout the concentration camp system. The capacity of the Dachau camp was 5,000 prisoners during its first year. In the beginning, most of the internees were German communists, social democrats, trade unionists, and other political opponents of the Nazi regime. Over time, Dachau became a place for other groups, such as Jehovah's Witnesses, Roma and Sinti people, homosexuals, repeat criminal offenders, and asocials, who the regime incarcerated because they could not find employment. Beginning in 1942, German physicians performed medical experiments on prisoners in Dachau. The Luftwaffe and the German Experimental Institute for Aviation conducted high-altitude and hypothermia experiments, as well as experiments to test methods of making seawater drinkable. These experiments were aimed at aiding German pilots who conducted bombing raids or who were downed in icy waters. At the onset of World War II on September 1, 1939, conditions for prisoners in the Dachau concentration camps significantly deteriorated, resulting in an increase in mortality rates due to brutal working conditions, inadequate rations, and lack of hygiene facilities. In October of the same year, Theodor Ecke, the commandant of Dachau, implemented a harsh system of regulations that imposed severe punishments on prisoners for minor offenses. This approach made Dachau a model for other concentration camps that followed. In early 1937, the SS forced prisoners to construct a vast complex of buildings on the site of the original camp, which began with the demolition of the old munitions factory under appalling conditions. As the persecution of Jews intensified, the number of Jewish prisoners in Dachau increased. On November 10th to 11th, 1938, nearly 11,000 Jewish men were interned at the camp. The crematorium area, which included an old and a new crematorium with a gas chamber, was constructed adjacent to the main camp in 1942. However, there is no credible evidence to suggest that the gas chamber was used to murder human beings. Instead, prisoners underwent selection, and those deemed too sick or weak to continue working were sent to the Hardheim Euthanasia Killing Center near Linz in Austria. To boost war production, satellite camps were established near armaments factories throughout southern Germany under the administration of Dachau. Dachau alone had around 140 sub-camps, mainly in southern Bavaria, where prisoners were forced to work in armaments factories, leading to the deaths of thousands. As the Allied forces approached Germany, the Germans began transferring prisoners from concentration camps near the front to prevent the camps and their prisoners from being captured. Consequently, transports from evacuated camps in the east arrived at Dachau continuously, resulting in a significant decline in conditions. The camp became dramatically overcrowded with more than 30,000 prisoners. On April 29, 1945, the main camp at Dachau was liberated by the 45th Infantry Division. The camp's commandant, Martin Weiss, had already fled before the U.S. soldiers arrived. However, some SS guards remained in the camp, and Nazi guards in the gate tower fired upon the liberators. The American soldiers responded with fire, causing the guards to surrender. The surviving prisoners, who had suffered years of humiliation and abuse by their Nazi captors, were filled with shock and anger and wanted revenge. The U.S. soldiers found piles of emaciated corpses, 30 railroad cars filled with thousands of dead bodies, and 30,000 survivors, most of whom were severely malnourished and appeared to be walking skeletons. Thousands of them were sick and would die from typhus epidemics and starvation in the months following the camp's liberation. On April 29, 1945, the Dachau main camp was freed by units of the 45th Infantry Division. Martin Weiss, the camp's commandant, had already fled before the U.S. soldiers arrived. However, there were still SS guards present in the camp, and Nazi guards in the gate tower who foolishly opened fire on the liberators. When the American soldiers returned fire, the guards surrendered with their hands in the air. The U.S. troops further searched the camp after the surrender, but were not prepared for what they found. The soldiers' first indication that something was terribly wrong was the smell emanating from the camp. As they approached, they discovered over 30 railroad cars filled with decomposing bodies. The overpowering stench of death was a moment when they understood the origin of the odor. Inside the camp, they discovered even more corpses, often naked and lying where they had fallen in the last few hours or days before the camp's liberation. Sometimes the bodies were stacked on top of each other like firewood. Witnessing these atrocities gave the war a new meaning for many soldiers. They realized that they were not just fighting an enemy, but pure evil itself. The Nazis had attempted to burn as many of these bodies as possible before abandoning Dachau, but there were simply too many of them. One soldier recalled, "Everywhere you turn is just the horror of bodies, and people near death or in a state of complete decrepitude that you cannot even process it." Many American soldiers broke down in tears, while others were filled with rage, anger, and hatred. After seizing the SS guards, one prisoner forcibly pushed aside one or two fellow prisoners to join in the attack. The prisoners proceeded to knock down and kill all the guards, and also beat several SS men and capos to death using their bare fists, sticks, and shovels. One witness recounted how an inmate stomped on an SS trooper's face until there was almost nothing left. Some SS guards had changed into camp clothing to evade detection, but they were identified and lynched immediately. When the soldiers discovered a dog kennel with German shepherds and Doberman pinschers, they shot several of the animals, as there were rumors that the Germans had fed political prisoners to them. Later, American troops forced the citizens of the nearby town of Dachau to visit the camp to witness the conditions and assist with burying the deceased bodies. Many locals claim to have been unaware of the ongoing atrocities. The exact number of SS guards killed remains unclear, though estimates range between 30 and 50. General Patton, then military governor of Bavaria, dismissed all charges, and as a result, no one was ever brought to trial for this act of reprisal. Out of the over 200,000 individuals imprisoned in Dachau and its subsidiary camps during its 12 years of operation between 1933 and 1945, nearly 42,000 were murdered. As we come to the end of this video, we hope that you've gained a deeper understanding of the horrific events that took place in the Dachau concentration camp. The atrocities that were committed there by the Nazi regime are a stark reminder of the evil that can arise when hate and intolerance are allowed to thrive. It's essential to remember these events, to honor those who suffered and died, and to ensure that they are never forgotten. It's also crucial to continue fighting against hate and intolerance in all its forms, to build a world where everyone can live in peace and dignity. Thank you for watching, and we hope this video has shed some light on this fascinating and tragic story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And as always, stay curious and keep learning.